to all in your YouTube channel NCERT e-teaching. I am Dr. Kailash Meena. Today going to explain the DNA from class 12th biology chapter 6 molecular basis of inheritance, and this is my first lecture of the chapter 6. Now let's start the chapter. So what are the learning outcomes from this chapter? If you watch this video completely, then you will be able to understand the chemical structures as well as functions of nucleic acids. So let me explain what are nucleic acids. So they are simply DNA, which is deoxyribonucleic acid, which is shown by this diagram also, and RNA, which is ribonucleic acids. So both are nucleic acids, and there is a huge similarity between both of them, but yes, as well as there are some differences. So we will discuss all these similarities and differences and structure and functions. So let's start our video now. Before understanding the structure and function of DNA, let me remind you the chapter biomolecules from your class 11th biology, when we were discussing the unit number 3, which were dealing with cells, biomolecules and cell division. So there we learned that nucleic acids, whether it is DNA or it is RNA, are made up of nucleotides. What I said, nucleotides. So this structure here represents a very basic idea of nucleotide. So what nucleotide really is, it is made up of 3 units. These units are called as nitrogenous base, pentose sugar and a phosphate moiety. So very simple idea of nucleotide is these 3 things made up a nucleotide. But yes, one more thing, which is if you add only this pentose sugar and nitrogenous base but not the phosphate to it, it will be called as nucleoside. So there is a difference between nucleotide and nucleoside. You will encounter these terms throughout your book of class 12th biology, nucleotide and nucleoside. So nucleoside simply means pentose sugar plus nitrogenous base. It may be any pentose sugar, it may be ribose, it may be deoxyribose, and that base may be adenine, guanine, thymine, cytosine or uracil. We will learn more about that, and we also have learned from our class 11th biology, and I strongly recommend you to recall or go through that chapter before reading this chapter. And I will suggest you for all this, if you are studying class 11th and 12th biology, any topic which you encounter before, you must go through the previous classes. For example, if you are going to study about cells, as we have studied in class 11th biology, so you need to first read about the cells from class 8 science, from class 9 science. Then you have the elementary idea, the idea which is required to go in the depth in class 11th biology. And with the same token, if you need to understand the structure and functions of DNA and RNA in detail, then you need to revisit the idea of biomolecules from class 11th biology. Now coming back to these nucleotides and nucleosides, so as we have learned in class 11th biology that this pentose sugar may be of 2 types, either deoxyribose or ribose. So let me explain you. In case of RNA it will be ribose, in case of RNA it will be ribose, and in case of DNA it will be deoxyribose. It's very simple. That is why the name DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid, RNA, ribonucleic acid. So simple. Now, so we have aware about the nucleotide, which is made up of phosphate and sugar In case of DNA, it will be deoxyribose. In case of RNA, it will be ribose. And when it comes to the base, now we have 5 type of bases here. So these 5 type of bases again can be categorized into 2 categories. It is lot more detail for you here. We have learnt about these things about in our 11th biology, and we are going to learn about this again in our class 12th chemistry, organic chemistry. The biomolecule chapter is also there in your chemistry curriculum. So it will be very good idea to learn about biomolecules. It is going to help you everywhere in your science curriculum now. So what is purine and pyrimidine? Very simple. These are some basic structure of chemistry. So purine structure involves 9 members ring, and this pyrimidine structure involves 6 member ring, and you can resemble these things with one hexagon plus pentagon joined together in purine, and only one hexagon in pyrimidine. So there are 2 types of purines, adenine and guanine, and there are 2 types of pyrimidine in case of DNA, which are cytosine and thymine, and again there are 2 types of pyrimidine in case of RNA, which are cytosine and uracil. So here and again in case of RNA you can observe adenine and guanine as purines. So what is the similarity and differences between DNA and RNA? It is very simple. RNA will contain ribose sugar in the nucleotide, DNA will contain deoxyribose sugar in the nucleotide, and finally when it comes to base, both DNA and RNA will contain adenine, guanine and cytosine. But yes, RNA will only RNA will contain the uracil, and only DNA will contain the thymine. So although bases are of 5 types, but you are only noticing 4 types of nucleotides in case of RNA and 4 types of nucleotides in case of DNA. DNA lacking uracil and RNA lacking thymine. So this is a very simple and elementary idea which you already have learned from class 11, but here I have discussed before the revision point of view. Now this structure of DNA, oh my god, this is very iconic structure. Everybody is familiar with this structure, whether you are coming from science stream and whether you are not coming from science stream, whether you are not interested in curriculum at all. But yes, we all are familiar with this structure of DNA, but yes, not in detail. So this structure here represents the chain of nucleotides. What is chain of nucleotides? In class 11th biology biomolecules, we learned about bonds, units, macromolecules. So there are 4 type of macromolecules in our body: carbohydrates, fats, proteins and nucleic acids. So when it comes to nucleic acid, we are talking about DNA and RNA, and these nucleic acids are polymers of nucleotides. What is nucleotide? As I already have discussed, the combination of sugar, base and phosphate. So there may be 4 types of nucleotides in case of DNA, 4 types of nucleotides in case of RNA, and if we join together this nucleotide in a very long chain, then it will be called as nucleic acid. Of course, if you are using deoxyribose sugar, then it will be called as deoxyribonucleic acid, and if you are using ribonucleotides, then it will be called ribonucleic acid or RNA. So here we are showing the icon of DNA. So here this ribbon which is going like this, so this ribbon represents the sugar and phosphate backbone. I will describe later in the slides the detailed structure for you. And these stairs like structures here represents the nitrogenous bases, and when I have mentioned the names of those also, like adenine, guanine, thymine and cytosine, you can also correlate with these symbols. So here is one interesting thing also, if you are able to notice that guanine is always attaching or base pairing with cytosine, thymine is with adenine. Again the reverse is true also, adenine with thymine and cytosine with guanine. So these 2 strands, if you are able to see, these 2 strands we can separate by these hydrogen bonds. These 2 strands are held together by these hydrogen bonds. So when we talked about the concept of macromolecules in class 11th, we learned about the covalent bonds in case of proteins, in case of carbohydrates, in case of nucleic acids, and those bonds were, let me remind you, the glycosidic bonds in the carbohydrates, peptide bonds in case of proteins in between the amino acids, and finally phosphodiester bonds in case of DNA and in case of RNA. So that phosphodiester bond we can notice along with this ribbon, which is composed of sugar phosphate, sugar phosphate, sugar phosphate, sugar phosphate. So, and this yellow line, what this yellow line representing is that the holding of these two strands with hydrogen bonds. So there are so many type of bonds you are going to notice in DNA when we come to detail. Now here is one more thing that you can notice, that the width of DNA is 2 nanometer, here 2 nanometer, and again the space between two nucleotides is 0.34 nanometer. Here you can notice 0.34 nanometer, and one turn or one cycle goes like 10 base pairs, so it will be 3.4 nanometer. Very basic technical details about the DNA, which we already have learned in class 11th also. This is all about DNA. So why we are discussing DNA here? If you have learned in class 11th biology, biomolecules, we are learning here because it is a molecular basis of inheritance. So in our chapter 5, we have learned that Mendel discussed about the factors which are controlling traits or characters. Those factors are made up of DNA. Now we know those factors are now called genes, and those genes are segment of DNA on the chromosomes or in the chromatin. So now we know that genes are made up of DNA. DNA has a very crucial role in controlling the behavior of cells or many functions of cell, and we are aware about the structure of DNA, but previously it was not known that DNA is the genetic material, plus the structure of DNA was unknown. So here we will go on a journey of history also, that how people or scientists came to the conclusion that DNA is the genetic material in living organisms. When Mendel discovered that something is controlling our characters, which is passing from one generation to another generation by following, of course, some laws of dominance, laws of segregation, law of independent assortment. Those things are made up of DNA. Nobody was knowing that. So because of a series of experiments, we came to know that okay, DNA is the genetic material. And after we know that DNA is the genetic material, it was happened in 1953, that 1950s time. That time that DNA took the attention of all the people connected with the science community. So people are like searching for the structure of DNA again. Then again there was many theories, many rules, many observations. Finally Watson and Crick elucidated this double helix, this elegant structure of DNA. And then finally, after discovering or after investigating the structure of DNA, scientists were able to know about the functions which DNA performs. We will discuss all these things in my upcoming videos or in my upcoming lectures. So why because of this structure, DNA is able to perform many functions, which functions are very crucial for anything to be the genetic material. What is the genetic material? When Mendel talked about the genes or factors, Mendel talked about something which can control things, which can control the behavior of cells, which can regulate the function of cells. How can this be possible? So we are going to unfold this mystery step by step along with this lecture. Now one more thing here, this you can notice DNA, then RNA, then polypeptide or protein. So from DNA to RNA to protein, very simple terms. So DNA can guide the synthesis of RNA, and RNA can guide the synthesis of polypeptide. As I have discussed and I have mentioned this concept earlier in my mutation topic from chapter number 5. So DNA can guide the synthesis of RNA, and RNA can guide the synthesis of protein or polypeptide in eukaryotic cell as well as in prokaryotic cell. So those processes are known as transcription and translation, and we are going to explain the all details of transcription and translation later in this chapter. So this theory or this principle is called as central dogma of molecular biology. Let me write this thing. This is called central dogma of molecular biology. This is very important. So if anybody asks you how DNA is able to express itself, how genes are able to express itself, how DNA is able to control all the activities of cells, how DNA is able to perform all the functions of cells, very simple term, from DNA to RNA product, and which is called shelter of molecular biology. We will go in depth in my next slides. Now here is some chemical details of RNA. So RNA is like DNA. It is a polymer of nucleotides again, but yes, nucleotides are composed of ribonucleotides, not deoxyribonucleotides. So this is some history and some interesting things also. So let me explain this thing. See, in 1950s, one scientist which was Erwin Chargaff, gave some rules or some principles to us about the structure of DNA, even though he was not knowing the structure of DNA. But there were many things, many scientists worked upon the DNA, then the structure of DNA was unfolded. But yes, Erwin Chargaff gave a simple rule that in any DNA sample or in any DNA molecule, there will be equal amount of A and T and G and C. What does it mean? This means that if there are 500 adenines in a DNA, there will be 500 T. Or if there is 400 G, then there will be 400 C. In very simple terms, A equals T. This is very important for us now, and G is equal to, so C. This very simple observation was given by Erwin Chargaff, but this was not simple at that time because we didn't know the structure of DNA at that time. So how it is useful for us students, because there may be some numericals from this concept. So let me solve one numerical, then we will go further in the structure of DNA. So there is very simple numerical from our class 12th biology NCERT exercise number 2. Let me read that question. If a double stranded DNA has 20% of cytosine, calculate the percent of adenine in the DNA. So how can we know? Now we have not learnt about the structure of DNA completely, but we know one thing, that in any DNA molecule, A is equal to T and G is equal to C. Very simple idea. Now what is given? That there is 20% C. So by this simple idea we can know that if there is 20% of C, there will be 20% of G also. G will be also 20% because G is equal to C, which was Chargaff rule. So G plus C will be 20 plus 20 is equal to 40%. Okay. Now if 40% is G plus C, then what will be A plus T? It will be 60%. Very simple, because there are only 4 nucleotides in the DNA molecule, and from the Chargaff rule again we know that A is equal to T. So it is very simple. If A plus T is equal to 60%, then A will be 30%. Very simply, 60 divided by 2. So this is very simple logic, and because of this logic we are able to solve one NCERT exercise. It is a big thing. This is the solution again. So adenine molecule will be 30%. Very simple logic. We need not to perform many big or complicated calculations. Now going further, so this is how nitrogenous bases hold together with the hydrogen bonds. So why, if anybody asks you, if you ask that why T is bonding with A, G is bonding with C, because of their structure. So structure plays very crucial role in the function. So T is hydrogen bonding with A and C is hydrogen bonding with G because of their structures. And again there will be 2 hydrogen bonds between A and T and T and A, and there will be 3 hydrogen bonds between G and C. Very simple idea, you will notice. So because of this token, how this nucleotide join together? This nucleotide join together by a condensation reaction or dehydration reaction. You all know what is dehydration, what is hydrolysis. We have discussed this idea in class 11th biology, how biomolecules join or how monomers join together to make a polymer. You will learn it this idea in chemistry also. So after having this much of detail, a DNA molecule will look like this. So here is phosphate and sugar backbone, phosphate sugar joined by phosphodiester bonds, and then these are the nitrogenous bases held together by hydrogen bonds, and the compatibility must be there. What compatibility? T with A with T, G with G, and C with G. Very simple molecule is showing here, only 4 nucleotides, so that you can understand. But yes, one thing you must notice here, that the polarity of the ends, you can notice the P and 3. So here you can see the 5 dash and 3 dash structure. I think you have learned this in your class 11th course also, but let me explain again. This thing is very crucial in DNA and RNA. See, when you notice this purines and pyrimidines or nitrogen bases, you can see the numbering for IUPAC nomenclature in any organic molecule. So here you can notice 5 number carbon, 4 number carbon, 2 number carbon, and so on. Now you know, and we all know, that ribose and deoxyribose are also pentose sugars. They also have carbons, 5 carbons. So if you give numbering, it is very complicated topic not to mention here, but I am giving only elementary idea that in IUPAC nomenclature you need some numbering to give a name of any chemical. So what happens is that if you are talking about carbon number 5, let's say, in a nucleotide, so somebody will be confused whether you are talking about the pentose sugar or you are talking about the nitrogenous base, because both nitrogenous base and the pentose sugar contains carbon. So to avoid this confusion, scientists have coined one term. What is that term? That term is very simple, that we will denote carbon numbers of pentose sugar, whether it is deoxyribose in case of DNA, whether it is ribose in case of RNA. We will denote them like 1 dash, 2 dash, 3 dash, 4 dash, and 5 dash, and this is also called 1 prime, 2 prime, 3 prime, 4 prime, or 5 prime. So I will use more frequently these two terms, 5 prime and 3 prime. This is why I am mentioning this here. So let's not confuse with 5 dash or 3 dash or 5 prime or 3 prime. In our next discussion, it is very simple. So you can here notice why this red colored 5 prime or 3 prime here. So here is one polarity also. In this one strand you will notice 3 prime end here, and in another strand you will notice 5 prime end here, and again. So this is how this strands run anti-parallel. So this is what we call anti-parallel. So these things are supposed to be learnt in the 11th class, anti-parallel. Now I have given you enough idea about the structure of DNA. You can go through the NCERT class 11th biology, and you can have more idea about the nucleotides, nucleosides, phosphodiester bond, and the hydrogen bonding, and the anti-parallel thing, because for chapter 6 and for rest of the chapters and in higher class also, the structure of DNA is very important. So you must have some idea, and it is very interesting also. In one go it may seem some complicated thing, but if you understand this well, you will able to understand better all the concepts. So this is all for now. In my next lecture we will be discussing the search for the genetic material. It will be very interesting journey for ourselves, and we will discuss nearly 3 major experiments, and these experiments are very important in the board examination also, because I am teaching from 8 years class 11th and 12th biology, and I know in many board examinations the questions same as it is from these experiments. So these experiments are very important. So we will discuss all these experiment detail in my upcoming videos, and it will not be possible to include all the 3 experiments in detail in one video, and these experiments are very important for NEET as well as for board examination. So thank you so much for your patient listening, and keep going.